Ladies and gentlemen, fusion rifles aren't for everyone. That charge time isn't something that every player wants to deal with. So many Guardians, when they saw that the featured reward in this past Dawning event was a fusion rifle, they were a little disappointed. But not me. When this grizzled old ironworker laid his eyes on Glacioclasm for the first time, he did a little dance in his chair. In PvP, fusion rifles are 100% my preferred special weapon, and have been for a very long time. Glacioclasm did not disappoint. And then to add a little more sugar to my ice cream sundae, Bungie announced in last week's TWAB, fusion rifle usage is very low and they feel like an unreliable choice in the Crucible compared to shotguns. So the fusion rifle damage fall off start distance was adjusted, 6% with 0 range and 16% with 100 range. They also reduced the camera movement from firing a fusion rifle by 9.5%. So what I personally consider to be the best legendary high impact fusion rifle in the game currently, not that we have a whole lot to choose from, is going to get better. So we'll take a look at Glacioclasm and see how it sits currently, knowing that in less than 1 week's time, it's going to get a little bit stronger. And if at any point during the course of this video you find it useful, helpful, or enjoyable, please remember to leave it a like, and if you're really digging the content and you'd like to see more, consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel. But let's get into the review with a quick look at my Glacioclasm stats and perks. Alright, with Glacioclasm, I saw a lot of these things come and go over the course of the last Dawning event, and I never found my absolute perfect roll. I did save in Masterwork 2 that I really liked though, and while they each have their advantages and disadvantages, they both work very well. The first one is a max impact roll, with liquid coils pushing it up to that point. It also has chamber compensator for the barrel, killing wind in perk column 1, and high impact reserves in perk column 2. This one does its job very well, but the one I mainly want to focus on in this review is this guy right here. We're looking at a charge time of 860 with 6 rounds in the magazine. And just something I wanted to cover real quick, high impact fusion rifles intrinsically are slow firing and have high damage, but they're also more accurate when stationary and aiming down sights. So says the description. It's been found that what Bungie really means by stationary is crouched. It works exactly like the firmly planted perk. You can move, or even be sliding, but as long as you are crouched and aiming down sights, you will get increased accuracy. For the stats on this one, we're going to pull in some solid numbers from Destiny Tracker. The impact is 95, which is pretty much the baseline for the archetype. The range stat here is sitting at an 85, and this has been pushed up through the extended barrel and the range masterwork. The reload, the handling, and the stability that we're looking at here are all rather low. But here again, this is pretty much standard for the archetype. It does have a zoom of 16, which is just a touch higher than all other standard fusion rifles, and we are looking at an aim assist value of 55, which is a shade low comparably. The recoil direction is sitting at a 78, so this weapon will pull slightly to the right as the burst releases. The two perks we're dealing with on this one are under pressure and high impact reserves, and these pair perfectly together. And this is by no means a new perk combination for fusion rifles, but it is one that I always look for. We'll get into these a little deeper as the video goes on. And if I could build my perfect Glacioclasm, this is what it would look like here, courtesy of d2gunsmith.com. Small bore for the barrel, liquid coil for the battery, I'd stick with under pressure and high impact reserves for the perks, and I'd like a stability masterwork. But that's kinda here nor there because the Dawning event is over and Glacioclasm is currently unobtainable. So hopefully you saved yourself a good one. Alright, getting into some damage numbers. Since this is a 95 impact, 860 charge time, high impact fusion rifle, Glacioclasm is going to hit for 48 points of damage per bolt when inside its optimal range. All standard fusion rifles are going to fire 7 bolts, so 4 out of the 7 bolts need to land to deal lethal damage on an enemy guardian running tier 6 resilience or less. But there's an issue. 48 times 4 is 192 on the button, the exact health of tier 6 resilience. And since the numbers on screen are being rounded up from 47 point something, at base it is going to require 5 bolts to kill. Now if we take a look at my other Glacioclasm, the max impact roll, it does hit for 49 points of damage per bolt and will secure a 4 bolt kill. This kind of highlights the importance of liquid coils on these. But this is also where high impact reserves is going to help us out. It kicks in when our magazine is at 50% capacity, and the damage will get higher the closer we get to empty. Now with 2 and 3 rounds left in the magazine, we're hitting for mixed damage numbers here, but it's approximately 49 points of damage apiece, and this does allow us to secure a 4 bolt kill. And on the final round, we're seeing 51s pop, and it's probably 50 point something, but either way. And if you're wondering about a 3-bolt kill, maybe Swashbuckler, Empowering Rift, Liquid Coils. I don't have the role to test it. If you do, let me know. But a high impact reserves final round with a 20% damage buff is going to hit for 61 points of damage per bolt. And if you're only counting 3 bolts, that's 183 points of damage. Probably a little less assuming that the numbers are rounded up. But this increased damage is going to add to the weapon's consistency and make it more usable at longer ranges. Speaking of range, 17 meters will be our max optimal range. Past that, we are going to start to see damage fall off. Working things back, we are still going to be able to secure a 5-bolt kill from up to about 20 meters away. Past that, it's going to start requiring 6 bolts. And thanks to the roll I have on this gun, I was able to secure some 23 meter kills during testing. But we're really pushing the gun to its limits here, and it's going to lack any real consistency from this distance. And while it's not advisable to use it at this range, the potential is there. Performance-wise though, why do I like Glacioclasm and why do I like this roll? Well, starting off, let's take a look at the full perk set, and there are a lot of good options in here. But in perk column 2, I feel like high impact reserves is gonna be a must-have, especially if your Glacioclasm does not have liquid coils for the battery. It's also nice because it does allow you to secure that 4-bolt kill without increasing the charge time. On my other Glacioclasm, I do have high impact reserves and liquid coils, but it was missing a piece to the puzzle that I really like. Swashbuckler could be a really nice perk on this weapon also. It's not one that I've actually tested on a fusion rifle before, but it is kill activated, where high impact reserves are going to be working right off the bat as soon as you spawn in. In perk column 1, we kind of open ourselves up to more choices. There's a lot more wiggle room here for personal preference, but I do have my favorite. Surplus is a perk that could help this weapon out a great deal, if you're conservative with your ability usage. Killing Wind is another great perk, but here again it is kill activated. Slide Shot is a perk that could work extremely well on this weapon though, since you do get increased range and stability, plus a partial magazine reload. But if you're someone who slides around the map full time, and you are pairing this with high impact reserves, you do have to watch your magazine size to make sure you do not deactivate high impact reserves. So I'm going to take Under Pressure. It works just like high impact reserves. If your magazine is at half or less, the perk is active. And the accuracy and stability boost that this perk provides is definitely noticeable in game. So when paired with high impact reserves, if one is working, they're both working. And since you spawn into a Crucible match with 2 rounds in the magazine, they're both working immediately. Another thing to consider is the enhanced battery magazine option that I have on mine. It's not ideal, I would rather liquid coils, but it's not an option that I would turn my nose up at either. The base magazine is 5, enhanced battery is going to put the magazine size up to 6. And this actually works nicely with high impact reserves and Under Pressure. With a 5-round magazine, these perks won't activate unless you have 2 rounds left in the mag. With a 6-round magazine, they're going to activate at 3, so you're getting 1 additional shot with the added benefits of the perks. And really, when all these things are working together, I think this Glacioclasm feels great in the Crucible. Is it going to have that crazy range like Erentil did before the fusion rifle changes? No, but no fusion rifles are. Next season though, as long as your range is on the higher end, you're probably going to get another meter or 2 out of this thing. And my buddy Porfman Gaming also brought up a good point. Not only is the physical range going to increase, that increase to the range stat is probably going to help out your accuracy cone a good deal. This is going to help an already consistent fusion rifle become even more consistent. And if there's something I value in a fusion rifle, it is consistency. Now, like any fusion rifle, that pattern spread is tied to RNG, so there's always the chance that something silly like this can happen. But all in all, this is one of the most reliable fusion rifles that I've used when inside its optimal range, and I've used almost all of them. And just the sheer scarcity of this weapon archetype does make Glacioclasm more desirable. There's only going to be 2 power relevant options in the archetype left next season. One's unobtainable, and the other you're going to have to head into trials to get. And the last pro I want to touch on is the sights on this thing. The sight is as clean as you could ask for. There is absolutely no framework around it, and nothing to impede your field of view. But for some drawbacks, this is a high impact fusion rifle, so outside of range and impact, the rest of the stats are rather low. The handling's poor, the reload is slow, and I do wish the roll I had a little more stability, just to keep that grouping tighter at longer ranges. Also, the aim assist is a touch lower than the rest of the weapons in the archetype. Not by much, but it is a little lower. And obviously, if you don't like fusion rifles, you might as well chalk that up as a con. It does require patience at times, and performs best when you are able to anticipate enemy players' movement. Also, to make the most out of this weapon, you do need to be crouched and aiming down sights. So while Glacioclasm can be used aggressively with the right technique, It's not a weapon that does well when you're on the run or engaging from the air. On top of that, given the long charge time, pre-charging is necessary in most cases, because a lot of weapons in the Crucible right now can drop you before you ever get a shot off.
Strength in numbers, Guardian.
So for the verdict, and I really do think Glacioclasm is going to be a premier high-impact fusion rifle moving forward. And I know that isn't saying a whole lot currently due to the limited options that we have. But if new ones are added in the coming seasons, they're gonna have to bring something special to the table to rival Glacioclasm. There are a handful of newer perks here that can work out very nicely on this weapon, as well as some tried and true ones that are good on any fusion rifle. And it is kind of a shame that Glacioclasm departed along with the Dawning this year, but if you're someone who was willing to grind out a decent roll during the course of the event, I think Glacioclasm is going to serve you very well moving into next season. Or if you're a new player or someone who doesn't use fusion rifles very often, maybe this video can serve as sort of a template for what you should be looking for down the road. But if you did enjoy this video, please remember to leave it a like, and consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel to catch more Destiny 2 content in the very near future. If you'd like to catch me live, I will occasionally be streaming right here on YouTube. If you'd like to contact me, you can look for Ironworker814 on Twitter, join our channel Discord, link will be in the description, or drop a comment down below and I will do my best to get back to you. And with all that being said, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to check out this weapon review. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.